Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Patrick. Got a quick little beat breakdown for you today. I've been getting a lot of messages from you guys lately asking me to do more beat breakdowns and production tutorials. So if you like this video, please be sure to let me know in the comment section below, and I will be sure to give you guys more of what you're looking for. I posted today's beat on Instagram a few days ago. Got a lot of positive feedback. And just for a little point of reference, all of these beats and little ideas that I share with you guys, especially on Instagram, are all song ideas that I'm actually working on. So I really appreciate your feedback. It helps me kind of gauge what you guys are feeling, what you're not feeling, and then I can go and turn these beats into full songs. So let's dive into the beat. We got some cool keyboard stuff happening, some cool guitar stuff happening, some fun percussion stuff going on as well. I'll play the whole thing for you, and then we'll dissect it together. All right, check this out. Alright, so let's break this down, and let me start by just giving you a little bit of an idea of how I like to work. So when I'm making my beats, all I'm really trying to do is capture a vibe, capture an emotion, create a little musical environment for the listener, and if the beat ends up being cool enough, I mean, that's what we hope for, right? Then the beat can go on and get developed into a full song. So personally, when I'm making beats, I try to at least get a few different sections locked down and kind of get a general picture of how the track will build. Does that make sense? So, for example, today's beat has 3 different sections, and those sections can be expanded or reduced depending on how the song develops. Anyway, that's enough talking. Let's get into the breakdown. So I started with this electric piano part. I'm using the Stage Dark preset in Arturia Analog Lab. So I added some compression and some EQ just to bring out some of the characteristics of the instrument that I liked. Then I added a little chorus and reverb. But then I threw on this J37 tape saturation plugin from Waves. I just messed with the wow and the flutter a little bit, just kind of gave it this warbly kind of underwater feel. And that's how I got the sound. And then from there we have an 8-bar progression that I kind of think about as part 1 and part 2. The first half is very kind of simpler chords, and then the second half, the chord voicings get a little bit more colorful. So let me show you what the first half looks like. So now here's the second half of the progression, and I tried to add a little bit more color to the chord voicings just to help the song build a little bit more. So check this out. So once I had the chords down, I kind of had the roadmap of the song. I started to add the beat. First thing I added was the kick. There's not a whole lot to this part. It's just a drum sample that I loaded into Ultra Beats so that I could play it out. I didn't add a whole lot to it, just some EQ and a little bit of saturation by way of the sausage fattener. So let's check out the kick part. Next thing I added was a rim shot and a clap on the same track with some delay, just 1/8 note tape delay, and that sounds like this. The next thing I added was this glitchy sort of hip-hop conga sound, and I got 2 separate tracks for this part, 1 pan hard left, 1 pan hard right, so you have this sort of stereo feel to it. This is a part that's kind of meant to be more felt than heard, if that makes sense, but anyway, let's check it out. So I'd gotten this far and I started playing around with some hi-hat patterns, some trap hats. Didn't really like anything, so I went over to Splice and I ended up finding this cool little hi-hat and snare part that I thought fit the song really, really well. So I threw that in there as well. So let's check out what that sounds like. Oh yeah, one more thing that is worth noting, I have kind of this filter sweeping effect that's on the drums in the intro section. And all I did was I sent all of my drum tracks out to a drum bus. I have just a simple EQ on that drum bus. And then using automation, you just select this drop-down menu, go over to your channel EQ and select high cut frequency. And then you can select your different frequencies and draw in an automation curve that will essentially trigger the channel EQ to do a filter sweep. And it sounds something like this. So at this point, the beat is starting to feel pretty good to me, but I knew I had this third section that I wanted to build a little bit more. So I ended up grabbing the Logic drummer and just turning off everything but the tambourine. And I got this nice little 16th note tambourine pattern. Maybe it's just a placeholder, but it definitely sounds good enough to keep. So check this out. Just added a little bit of chorus, a little bit of reverb to soften it up a little bit, and it just kind of sits back in the mix and just drives the song a little bit. Sounds pretty cool to me, so I think I'm gonna keep it. But let's move on to the guitars. Not a ton on this guitar part for plugins. I have Logic's amp plugin. I got some EQ. I like to use the Decapitator by Soundtoys just for a little bit of analog-y saturation, and I have some delay bust out. We're just doing a quarter note delay, nothing fancy. The song didn't really strike me as something that needed me to double the chords that the keyboard is playing on the guitar. So I started playing around with some little funky vibes and patterns. I didn't really force it. This was one of the first ideas that came out, but I think it stuck, so check this out. And last but certainly not least, no guitar beat would be complete without a little self-indulgence by way of a guitar solo. So just a little something quick, just a little something fun, just to give myself and the audience a taste of where this thing could possibly go. But check this out. This is what I played on the guitar. The lead guitar tone is practically the exact same as the rhythm tone, just minus the delay, and I added a little bit of distortion by way of the Logic pedal board. The vintage drive is what I like. With the drive at 22.8 dB, the tone at 840 Hertz, and the level at plus 4.8 dB. But those numbers really mean nothing. I just turn the knobs until it sounds like what I want it to sound like. So that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. Again, just a simple little beat. This thing isn't even finished. I don't have bass on it yet. I got a friend coming over that I want to play bass on this and just kind of further develop this track. But I wanted to give you guys a little look at this beat at kind of version 1, at the ground level, before I start to really roll my sleeves up and dive in and develop this track. So again, guys, let me know if you like this kind of content in the comment section below. I'll be sure to create whatever you guys want. That's what I'm here for. Thank you guys so much for liking and commenting and subscribing to this channel. Appreciate y'all. But until next time, my name's Patrick. I'll catch y'all soon, all right? Peace.